Teachers' unions give their views on cell phones in schools as other countries move to ban their use. The BDF moves to upgrade its field medical hospital. More efforts to promote Barbados as a culinary destination.
Broadcasting from our studios in the Pine St. Michael, this is CBC NewsNight, starting now.
Good evening, I'm Pearson Boeing. The Ministry of Education is being told to consider banning cellular phone use in schools. This call is coming from the Barbados Union of Teachers as several countries around the world move to do so. Anesta Henry has the report.
Several countries around the world are banning cell phone use in schools, and the president of the Barbados Union of Teachers, Rudy Lovell, believes Barbados should follow suit. Mr. Lovell says there's enough evidence to indicate use of the phones creates several distractions leading to student conflict.
Additionally, evidence shows that phones in schools can divert students' attention from lessons, leading to decreased focus and productivity. Some students use their cellular phones to call family members or friends to their schools. To get in schools can help teachers maintain control and discipline, ensuring a more structured and focused learning environment. Having said the above, schools should take guidance from the Ministry of Education, technological and vocational training on the use of cellular phones in schools for students in Barbados.
President of the Barbados Secondary Teachers Union, Mary Redmond, says, while some people may argue there is a place for cell phone usage to enhance the teaching learning process, it must happen under controlled circumstances.
If the ministry is to allow widespread use of cell phones in school, then it should be done looking at what is best practice in other places and what has worked effectively in other places. But as it stands now, the reality is that cell phone usage in schools creates more problems than benefits.
However, Ms. Redmond admits a workable policy would be difficult to police and would place an added burden on teachers.
Because another negative impact in relation to cell phones and cell phone usage in schools is the increase in theft of cell phones, and the amount of time and energy that is spent in attempting to address those problems as they occur. Trying to detect who has stolen, when it was stolen, the true owner of a cell phone, all of those things impacting often on the teacher's teaching time or an administrator's management time in school.
As school resumes in parts of the United States and Canada, students in Washington, D.C. and the British Columbia will be returning to class without their mobile phones because of new rules to keep the devices out of the classroom. Australia has also introduced a no-phone policy in public schools, and Guyana's education minister has signaled her support for rules limiting cell phone use. In a 2023 released Global Education Monitoring Report, the United Nations Education, Science and Culture Agency raised concerns about the excessive use of smartphones in schools worldwide. Education Officer Roderick Ruther said the ministry had not yet done an assessment of the local impact on students. CBC News has tried to reach the Chief Education Officer, Dr. Ramona Archer Bradshaw, for an update, but is still awaiting a response. Anesta Henry, CBC News.
The Barbados Defence Force Field Medical Hospital will soon be upgraded to Level 2 certification. This will allow medical personnel from across the region to operate in its environs when the facility is set up. And the donation of a new generator from CIBC will be used to bolster the medical unit's operations. Rachel Agard has that story.
Commodore Errington Sherland says the new generator, the first of its kind within the force, will go a long way in enabling them to facilitate operations in the field medical hospital. He says they're working to ensure the facility goes on to the next level of accreditation, adding they will be reaching out to corporate Barbados to assist in getting them to the Level 2 certification.
We want to look to move from a Level 1 to a Level 2. We had a pre-assessment earlier this year. You may recall that the facility was set up over by the National Stadium, and that assessment went very, very well. We're in the process now of acquiring some other bits and pieces that will get us closer to the finish line for another assessment.
Commodore Sherlin says the field medical hospital is not only to be utilized in Barbados, but across the region. The facility was last set up at the National Stadium to bolster medical response during the ICC T20 Men's Cricket World Cup.
We've already deployed to St. Vincent and the Grenadines and a small element in Grenada. We want to make sure that we have the capacity not only to support the government of Barbados, but also to support other regional governments if there's a need for it. In terms of equipment, we're nearly there. We need to work out some medical, legal considerations, meaning if there's a deployment and we have medical practitioners from other jurisdictions, that they are covered legally to cooperate and work with the field medical hospital.
There are currently 239 volunteers attached to the facility in Barbados, and the medical staff operating in the field hospital are currently working with the Caribbean Public Health Agency and other medical entities to ensure they have the necessary complement when they deploy regionally. Rachel Agard, CBC News.
One local scientist believes once people follow the health protocols for Mpox, Barbados and other countries can avoid major fallout from the disease. According to the director of the Center for Biosecurity Studies at the UWI, Dr. Kirk Douglas, not only humans are contracting it, but pets as well. And that's why the level has been raised to public health emergency of international concern.
With the right public health measures, it can be contained, it can also be detected. This is something that we need to ensure that we have in tip-top shape. And I think that once we do have that, then we will be relatively safe, because the virus is transmitted through, infected blisters or contaminated either clothing or linen or whatever, where the person who has the actual disease and also has the sores, then that is what leads to infection, not only of humans, but also interestingly in pets. So cats and dogs can also succumb to the infection if the owner or someone who makes contact with the dog has Mpox.
Barbados' permanent representative to the Organization of American States, Vic Fernandez, presented his credentials today to Secretary General Luis Almagro in a ceremony at the organization's headquarters in Washington, D.C. In his address, Ambassador Fernandez highlighted Barbados' firm commitment to upholding the principles on which the OAS was founded.
And I wish to renew Barbados' full commitment to the OAS and our commitment to the principle contained in the core documents, the OAS Charter, the Inter-American Democratic Charter, and the Social Charter. We believe in a strong, fit-for-purpose OAS, which works on behalf of the people of this hemisphere. Moreover, we are convinced that unless the hemisphere focuses in a meaningful way on the intrinsic link between integration, good government, and multidimensional security on the one hand, and development on the other, our goals for peace, stability, and political and economic security will always remain elusive.
Ambassador Fernandez says they must address the development agenda with vigor and commitment.
In this way, the benefits of democracy would be widely felt to improve the quality of life of our peoples. Barbados stands with the OAS in reaffirming the development aspiration of not only small states, but also all states. The people we lead and the interests we serve are looking to us to provide enlightened and inspired leadership.
Ambassador Fernandez has served as chairman of the Barbados National Oil Company, the Barbados National Oil Terminal, and the Barbados Tourism Investment Corporation, as well as director of the National Petroleum Corporation and the Bayview Hospital, among other positions. A warning to business owners to remove their advertising material from sidewalks, street islands, road signs, and any other street furniture by Friday, the 20th of September. The directive from the Ministry of Transport and Works comes as it says business owners are increasingly chaining sandwich boards and other forms of advertising material to road signs. The advertising material placed along the roadways and sidewalks often obstruct the line of sight for motorists or the walkway for pedestrians. Section 13 of the Highway Act Cap 289 authorizes the Chief Technical Officer of the MTW to remove and dispose of anything placed willfully upon any highway in Barbados by anyone. The Act further states those who do not comply can incur a fine and may be required to pay the cost of removal. We'll take a break here, but coming up, we'll tell you about an effort to promote Barbados as a culinary destination. Members of the Barbados team to compete at the 47th World Skills Competition, World Skills Lyon 2024, are on their way to France. The team leader, Sarah Jilts Daniel, says the team is going to Lyon with high hopes of bringing home hardware. Ms. Jilts Daniel was speaking to CBC News at the Grantley Adams International Airport, where the team started the journey today.
We will be competing in 4 skills there: automobile technology, car painting, cooking, and restaurant service. These are the competitors. We will be there from tomorrow, the 7th, until the 17th of September, and the competition runs from September 10th to 15th. We are really excited. As you can see their faces, we're really excited and looking forward to being part of the competition. There will be competitors there from about 50 or 60 countries from across the world. World Skills has about 88 member countries, so most of them will be competing in those skills at Lyon.
Well, other team members arrived in France earlier this week for the competition, which, as you heard, runs from the 10th to the 15th. Holly-Ann Bailey, who will be competing in car painting, says she's excited to represent Barbados internationally.
Because this is an opportunity that not everybody gets in their lifetime. So I'm really excited, really proud to be here. I think I could speak for everybody else here saying that this is something that not everybody is getting to witness, you know, being in Lyon, France, competing. And I'm very proud of all of us right now.
There are efforts to position Barbados as a destination of choice for gastronomy tourism. That's according to Special Projects Manager with the Barbados Hotel and Tourism Association, Tessa Lee Moore. Gastronomy tourism is a form of travel that revolves around exploring the culinary traditions and food culture of a particular destination.
We've been talking as a country that the industry needs to move more from sun, sea, and sand, which is the traditional ways or means of pulling persons here to Barbados. So now we're going to focus more on culinary or gastronomy tourism, where a lot of persons actually don't understand that people travel for food experiences. So the BHD is geared towards more supporting that niche within tourism and understanding that it can be developed and it's something that persons will travel here for authentic Barbadian food.
Ms. Moore and Chef Adrian Cumberbatch were guests on Morning Barbados to discuss the Barbados National Culinary Team. A squad is in training before a team is selected to represent the island at the CHTA Taste of the Caribbean competition in Miami this November. Mr. Cumberbatch, who is the team manager, says competitors will be judged on representation of their country, creativity, flavor, taste, and teamwork.
Senior junior chef have 2 hours to prepare 5 plates. Mixology, you got to do rum, non-alcoholic, and a mystery bar. And the pastry chefs has 4 hours to create their unique dish that represents where you come from, Barbados. So in Trinidad, we're pulling different flavors. I don't want to lay them out on air, but we're going back to our grannies and our roots in Barbados, down the countryside, and see what we're missing and what we have not seen before. You know, like, let's take for example, like pudding and sauce is our dish. How can we elevate that to make it look fine dining and taste as fine dining as well for the judges up there?
The Barbados Water Authority says a message warning about an island-wide shutdown of the water network is untrue. The authority says it has no such plan and has issued no public notice to that effect. BWA customers are being reminded that they should check only and follow credible sources for any notifications issued by the authority. Those sources include the Barbados Water Authority itself, its Instagram, Facebook and website, or information shared by the BWA via the Barbados Government Information Service or credible media houses. Acting Superintendent of Police Anthony Warner is urging officers and prosecutors to work together as a single unit in achieving success during investigations. Describing the climate in Barbados as troubling times, given the nature of crime being committed on island, Mr. Warner says it has caused consternation among communities, government and citizens. He was speaking during the closing ceremony of this year's Prosecutors Course and Enhanced Constables Development Course at the Regional Police Training Center.
These crimes can also have significant impact on our tourism industry, our main economic earner. Life is full of many challenges and our societies are far from perfect, but this imperfection does not escape you also, because you see the complaints that come in against us. Unlike the corporate world or business establishments who spend large sums of money on advertisement of their services and value, we as law enforcement agencies do not have such luxury, but we have the opportunity of advertising when we do a sufficiently good job.
He also told the constables to not fail in the face of adversity, but to remain empathetic and objective when they're in their job, remembering duty to all involved and country.
Our communities are faced with a myriad of risks and dangers which required a unified response from you. This training should have equipped you to face these challenges, which are complex and multifaceted, in maintaining public safety with confidence, and our communities feeling confident in you.
A local educator is again making a case for closer attention to be paid to Bajan dialect. Past president of the Barbados Association of Reading, Sharon Warner, says research shows the benefits of people being able to use their home language. Amid concerns about the poor English results at the CXC level, she believes it's important to explain to students the differences in the structure of the two languages. She was a guest on Morning Barbados ahead of International Literacy Day observed on the 8th of September.
In our Barbadian language, we look at number by, we denote plurality quite often by number. So someone might say for shoe may not put on the S, but when we are talking and we are looking at plurality in our standard, British Standard English, I should say, we indicate plurality by adding on the S if we're talking about a regular way, or irregular ways where we can talk about moving from one child to children. So we have the irregular way in which we indicate plurality. But there must be an understanding of the structure of the language rather than just giving information so persons can gain greater proficiency in their language.
Former Member of Parliament, President of the National Organization of Women and Barbados representative on key international bodies, including the Inter-American Commission of Women, Dame Maisie Barker-Welch, will be accorded an official funeral on the 13th of September. The service will take place at the Abundant Life Assembly at Bank Hall, starting at 1 p.m. Tributes will begin at 12:15. It will be followed by the burial at Clifton Hill Moravian Church in St. Thomas. Now, viewing of the body will take place at the Colin Parkinson Memorial Chapel of Lyndhurst Funeral Home on Passage Road on Thursday, the 12th of September, from 1 to 6 p.m. Condolence books will be available for signing at Lyndhurst Funeral Home, and on the day of the service, as you recall, Dame Maisie passed away on Wednesday, the 20th of August, at the age of 96. The Congress of Trade Unions and Staff Associations of Barbados has been paying tribute to former General Secretary of the National Union of Public Workers, Joseph Goddard. Mr. Goddard, who gave 34 years of service to the NUPW, died on Wednesday. CITUSAP General Secretary Dennis DePisa says the Congress was saddened to learn of his passing.
Brother Goddard will be remembered as a renowned, distinguished, and respected trade union leader. He leaves behind a proud record of service to the Labour movement and to his country, Barbados. He is to be recognized as a trailblazer for the Barbados Labour movement, in that he became the first trade union leader to be appointed to the high office of this country's permanent representative to the United Nations in 2010. The Congress of Trade Unions and Staff Association of Barbados extended its condolences to the National Union of Public Workers and the family of the late Joseph Goddard.
So we're back with sports, but you know what? We're joined by Damien Best. Damien, good evening.
Yeah, good evening to you, Pearson. Good evening to our viewers and listeners. Some cricket news. First up, Barbados Royals are currently taking on host St. Kitts and Nevis Patriots in tonight's Republic Bank CPL fixture. The Royals have won the toss and sent the Patriots into bat, and a couple of minutes ago they were 55 for 3 after 6 overs. Yeah, 64 for 3, the Patriots in recovery mode after losing 3 early wickets. Well, live coverage is on MCTV Sports Match Channel 310, while TV8 will show the entire match tape delayed from 8:03. Meanwhile, last night, Antigua and Barbuda Falcons won their first game after 4 consecutive defeats, beating the Trinbago Knight Riders by 6 runs. TKR sent the Falcons into bat, and the hosts scored 176 for 6. In reply, TKR were kept to 170 for 9. Player of the match, Fabian Allen, took 3 for 23. Switching sports now, Xavier Hastic has advanced to the under-18 final of the Barbados Tennis Association Junior Nationals. Playing at the National Tennis Center in Willie, Hastic defeated Lucas Davis in semifinal number 1 this morning. Under-18 semifinal, Lucas Davis with the serve here taking on Xavier Hastic. Early days in this one. First set, Hastic funded the middle of his racket, cross-court winner. But that work in open play was being undone by some errors. Double fault. Davis handed a free point and the opportunity to break, but it would not materialize. This was one of the longer rallies of that first set. Davis eventually picking out the base of the net. Still in the first, Davis aiming to hold serve, forehand, repelled by the backhand. Hastic signed to the baseline, and Davis comes into the court with the volley, hoping for a lot with the lob. But it was Hastic who was playing with real confidence, closing out the first set at 6-2, breaking Davis in the process, that time into the net. The second was more challenging as Davis turned up the heat. Excellent backhand return, and he used the angle to put Hastic in hurry-up mode. Eventually, Mr. Cool going long. This point was pure magic as well. Hastic with the serve goes for the drop shot, but hustle play from Davis is rewarded. Backhand at the net, flamingo style, sweet, so nice. We've got to take another look. But Hastic weathered the mini storm, a backhand of his own, corner pocket, and Davis didn't have the answer. Tied at 6-all, the tiebreaker required. Davis working overtime left to right. Hastic come into the net. Power failure for Davis. Game, set, and match point. Hastic with the serve rips this one out wide. And Davis can only watch. Hastic marching into the final, defeating Davis 6-2, 7-5. Well, that is the first half in sports. When we come back a bit later on, we've got some road tennis news for you.
All right, Damien, thank you. We'll be right back with the business report.
The facts say Morning Barbados reaches an audience of over 50,000 and Newsnight reaches over 56,000. It's simple. When you advertise, you're getting your message to over 50,000 of your potential customers. Make the call to CBC Sales Department today and watch your business grow. Contact us at 467-5559 or email marketing@cbc.bb.
In business now, the Barbados Hotel and Tourism Association has appointed Greg Brooms as its new operations manager. In a statement, Mr. Brooms says part of his vision is to engage young people in the tourism industry. He says his focus also includes the strategic growth and sustainability of the BHTA and the broader tourism industry.
Another priority will be to develop initiatives aimed at engaging and empowering youth within the tourism industry. By promoting career opportunities and offering educational programs, we aim to cultivate a pipeline of future industry leaders, not only within the operations of the industry, but as a part of the association. I also envision expanding our Secretariat's role as a data hub for firm-level data critical to advancing the sector. Building on our existing data collection efforts in areas such as disaster preparedness and occupancy trends, we will leverage this information for insightful research and informed decision-making.
In his new role, Mr. Bruns will also serve as a key liaison with stakeholders and oversee the implementation of events, initiatives, and projects that benefit the BHTA members and the industry as a whole.
I am dedicated to advocating for the continuous evolution of tourism products and experiences that showcase the unique offerings in Barbados. This will include supporting initiatives that enhance the business capacities and resilience of our membership, particularly in the face of the impact of climate change. By fostering innovation and sustainability practices within our membership, while still advocating for improvements in the legislative and policy environment that impact the membership's ability to operate, we can ensure our members thrive while still contributing to the overall economic prosperity of our country.
With the Christmas season fast approaching, the Lloyd Erskine Sandiford Centre is ensuring it's well prepared to cater to its clients' needs. Today, it unveiled its Christmas menus for 2024. Director of Marketing Christopher Burnett tells the Business Report the event was held in association with Island Caterers and it will help government and private sector organizations get ready to host their holiday events.
All the feedback has been positive. Everyone loves the idea of a welcome drink, the welcome sangria. They like the farm-to-table concept, the fact that most of the items on our menu have been raised in Barbados, so, not a lot of imported items. And they like the creativity of our F&B partners here, Island Caterers.
Digital Systems Manager at Sagicor Bank, Leanne Corbin Van Bacchus, has called that initiative an excellent idea.
This is a fantastic initiative. I mean, who doesn't love Christmas in September? So it's exciting to walk in and see Christmas decorations. Christmas is my favorite time of the year, and the food was amazing. And what I really love about this is that they're also trying to garner feedback from everyone. So they've asked us to vote on the food and tell us what we liked, what we didn't like, but everything was amazing today in terms of the food.
Time now for tonight's trading report.
In Jamaica, Trans-Jamaican Highway Limited with 1,534,222 units was the volume leader, followed by Sagicor Select Funds Limited Financial and Wigton Wind Farm Limited Ordinary Shares. In Trinidad and Tobago, Grace Kennedy Limited was the volume leader with 232,798 shares changing hands for a value of Trinidad and Tobago $780,495.70, followed by Massey Holdings Limited. And here in Barbados, CIBC Caribbean Bank Limited was the volume leader, trading 1,076 shares at Barbados $2.10 each, and they were followed by Cave Shepherd and Company Limited.
Well, that's tonight's business report. A break, and when we come back, Carrie Ann O'Neill takes a look at the weather.
In the forecast for tomorrow, the sun is expected to rise at 5:47 and will set at 5 minutes past 6. Now, the first high tide is expected at 6 in the morning, low tide at 11:44 a.m. The seas, well, they're smooth to moderate in open water with swells peaking at 1.5 meters. The winds coming in from the southeast to the east-southeast, peaking at 20 kilometers per hour. For us here in Barbados tonight, we are expecting a mix of clear and cloudy skies along with brief showers. And over the next 3 days, afternoon localized showers can be expected.
Time for the second half in sports. Once again, here's Damien Best.
Thanks so much, Pearson. Well, Barbados' squash icon Kieran Meekins has won another world title, this time at the World Masters Over 50 Squash Championships held at the Frans Otten Stadium in Amsterdam. Well, Well, 3 players booked their passes through to the quarterfinal stage of the Barbados Road Tennis Open competition on Wednesday night. In a continuation of the round of 16 matches at the Belfield Hard Courts, Emar Edwards, Julian White and Adrian Scott all progressed. Continuation of the round of 16 at Belfield. Emar Edwards, aka Triple E, in the red, and White versus Darius Baracus Gaskin. This one locked at 1 game apiece, 21-19 to Gaskin in the first. Then Edwards secured the second, 21-12. So it was down to the vital third game, and you could tell who wanted it the most. Edwards transitioning from the back arm to the forward arm with fluency, going up on his toes to essay a shot past Gaskin, who could not find the return for that deposit. Down 2-6, Gaskin knew he had to find a way back, but that meant he would have to summon all his powers of concentration. Long rallies and waited for Edwards to flinch first. Triple E, long on the drive, point to Baracus. Gaskin also had to occasionally mix his angle of approach to nullify the advances of Edwards. Opts to come into the court after getting a favorable bounce, and Edwards unable to locate the baseline from that distance. 7-10 on the turn as we switch ends. Edwards still in pole position and steadily approaching a berth in the quarterfinals. His defense immaculate, and Gaskin caught in an awkward position. 19-13 then. Gaskin did rattle off a couple of points to reach 16, but the writing was on the wall, and Emar Edwards would take the win in a match that essentially lasted 4 days. 19-21, 21-12, 21-16. Next on court, Julian Michael Jackson White, closest to the screen up against Jaden Mears. White the overwhelming favorite, but Mears looking like a worthy adversary, if only briefly. The scores were actually locked at 11 and then 16. But once White hit top gear, he would close out the first game at 21-17, the master of defense, giving the spectators a treat. In the second we go, White was more ruthless, and he would send Mears packing at 11 to advance to the quarters. The final matchup of the night, Azari Clark in the red had a baptism of fire in the first game against Adrian Scott. Scott was up 15-6 before speeding to a 21-8 scoreline. Change of ends and attitude. Clark with his back against the wall in the second game. Beautiful shot to release the pressure. His support base sensing there could be the opportunity to force a third at another point. But Scott showed real resolve. From 14, it was tied all the way until 19. Back and forth until the tipping point at 20-19. Game and match point. 2 straight then to Adrian Scott. 21-8, 21-19. Well, that is Friday Night Sports. Pearson, it's back over to you.
Thank you, Damien. We'll be right back after this break. Well, that's our time tonight. Thank you for spending it with us. I'm Pearson Bowen. For the crew, to all of you, good night. Have a wonderful weekend.